call the meeting to order. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome everybody. And if you've got a cell phone, if you put it on silent or off, whichever you choose. Mike, it's your turn for the part of the prayer.
Please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive our trespasses against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Okay, thank you, Mike. Roll call, starting with Commissioner Stephen.
Here.
Smith is here. Commissioner Dove.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Here. Mr. Dove's here.
Here. Commissioner, okay. You guys may have to carry me a little bit today, okay?
Where do you want us to carry you?
Public comment. I have a few, so you'll have 5 minutes if you come to the podium and state your name and your address. I'd appreciate it. Barbara Williams. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning. I'm going to ruffle some feathers. I guess I'm trying to. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have big feathers.
Yeah, go ahead, Barbara. We can hear
Well, maybe not. I'm gonna. I won't apologize for being rude. I am rude. That's my nature. My name is Barbara Williams, 15699 Kansas Avenue, Baser. I'm a member of the public library, and I know there have been a lot of concerns about the books in the library, especially children's books. And I'm going to tell you that maybe, censoring, maybe that's the right thing to do. So maybe I'm going to join some folks today being concerned about censoring books. One book in particular that everyone here knows very, very well, a lot of porn, a lot of violence, and probably already know what I'm talking about. I want to do some quotes real quick and to let you know that I am concerned about that book. So maybe I will join forces with folks today about censoring books. I don't know. I've got so many passages here. Let's do one. Before a marriage, if there is no proof of the young woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the men of her town shall stone her to death. She has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous while still in her father's house. You must purge the evil among you. And another one, a punishment. Their bows will strike down the young men. They will have no mercy on infants, nor will they look with compassion on children. Let's do one more. I've got lots, but I think I'm making my point here. And they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also. And go in, and thou go in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived not when he lay down, nor when she arose. And thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. So I'm just here to say that if folks are going to censor books, I want to personally start with this one. And I respect people's concerns, but I want people to respect the choice families make about what their kids can read. This book that I'm reading from, which you know, young teens can access this at the library. It's in the reference section, and there are copies in the library to check out. And so if we're going to censor books, let's start there. Okay, and thank you for listening. I appreciate your patience.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Okay, Amy Bateman. Good morning.
I'm Amy Bateman. I live 3rd Avenue in the city of Leavenworth. And I'm here today speaking so that you may know the truth, and the truth may set you free. Free from the preconceived notions and assumptions of who we are as citizens of the city of Leavenworth. I want to make sure that you, as a governing body, are fully informed and aware of who we are so that your actions in the future can reflect the values of the community that you represent. Here's why I think at least some of you may be confused about what the people of the city of Leavenworth value and what we believe. Because in 2022, following the 2020 census, there was extensive redistricting, and Leavenworth County was grossly gerrymandered. The city of Leavenworth, this wonderful, diverse, and progressive city that I chose to be my home. I'm not from here. I chose to make this my home, to raise my family, to grow my business, to continue to serve my community following my 21 years of military service. And the voice of the people of the city of Leavenworth have been marginalized. We are a city of the first class. We are the first city of Kansas. And our voice has been diluted, disenfranchised, and gerrymandered into a marginalized and minority position, except at the municipal level, where we have 5 at-large seats that every citizen of the city of Leavenworth gets to vote for, with 3 seats coming up for election every 2 years. On the flip side of that, take, for example, this governing body. There are 5 county commissioners. Each of you have a district and are represented by the members of that district. One might think, or at least I thought, moving into this county, that looking at the map and how our population is dispersed, maybe one represents Lansing, one Leavenworth, one the northern tier, Easton, one the western tier, Tonganoxie, and one the southern tier in Basehor. That is nowhere close to the way your districts are drawn. The 1st, 2nd, and 4th districts, I believe I have that right, you all represent a portion of the city of Leavenworth. Yes. And so for those of you who represent those portions, the 1st district of Easton and then comes down and grabs a little bit of Leavenworth, the 2nd district, kind of the center of mass of the district, and then comes up into the southern part of Leavenworth, and then the 4th district that kind of comes in from the east. I don't blame you for not understanding who we are and what we believe. But the reason I'm here today is because I want to say loud and clear is when we show you who we are and when we show you what we value, we need you to believe us. It was stated in this chamber on June 11th, 2025, just a couple weeks ago. I think the people have spoken really clearly as to who they want representing them. I would just ask that Mayor Pittman represent the people rather than her own personal agenda. And we, the people of the city of Leavenworth, did speak really clearly. Loud and clear in November 2023 when we elected now Mayor Pittman to the City Commission with an astounding 2,500 votes in an off-cycle municipal election. More votes than any candidate in our City Commission has ever received. Nearly 600 more votes than her next closest competitor in that race in November 2023. But let's look at what happened in 2024. And you're right, Donald Trump was elected, and even by popular vote in the city of Leavenworth. Jeff Klump was elected, Pat Proctor was elected. But again, if you look at what did the voice of the people of the city of Leavenworth, who did they vote for? Because again, the gerrymandering of the districts, not only the county districts, but at the state level, in the state house seats, the state senate seats, have obscured our voice and our vote. So what I did is I went back and I looked at all the precinct data from the November 2024 election. If you look at just the city of Leavenworth, Democratic candidate Jeff Pittman received 800 more votes than Jeff Klump for the state senate race in the 5th district. And then there was my race in the 41st House district. The first-time candidate running on the Democratic ticket in the city of Leavenworth precincts that were in that district, I received 128 more votes in the city of Leavenworth than the 2-time Republican incumbent. So please, my ask of you today and going forward is respect our voice and respect our elected officials. There is a reason why Holly Pittman received more votes than any candidate in the history of the city of Leavenworth. She is kind and dedicated. She is welcoming, thoughtful, and inclusive. And she is proud of our community, of everyone in our community. Everyone that is brave enough to be themselves, to have a voice, and to use that voice to raise up our community, especially those who are most vulnerable and at risk. So please, use your voice as a governing body to represent and respect our voice, and love thy neighbor, because true unconditional love is a powerful force, and it will prevail. I thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to ask
Amy, you have time for one
I
question.
want to ask you a question. Obviously, what I'm taking as your purpose of coming here is kind of an apologist for the mayor, but the issue at hand was not banning books or censoring books. The issue at hand that I know that we brought to them as far as the library issue is the age appropriateness of some of the materials. And I brought, 2 weeks ago, I showed some of the things that are in the children's department at the library that are on display in the library for children 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. We're just asking that it be age appropriate. And we're not asking to ban books. We didn't ask it even to censor books. But parents are not always teaching their children about these gender-related issues at the same stage. Some parents may teach them in 5, 6, 7-year-old range. Some children may be taught by their parents more up towards 11 and 12-year-old age about these gender transitioning issues. So we ask that the collection be put back. Parents can sign if they, and there should be guidance for the children in dealing with these issues. It shouldn't just be out in an open position. That's all we asked. We didn't ask to ban books. We didn't say censor these books. We didn't say remove them from the library. And on the issue of the mayor was pushing an agenda with her proclamation. And then in the library, we find that there's not just one display about pride. There's 4 displays. One in the children's department, one in the junior high, one in the adult department, and one on the bulletin board. So it appears to us, and I'm not speaking for the commission, but for general citizens in the community, it looks like it's an agenda that's being pushed, and the mayor was the conduit for the agenda. And not all the commissioners even agreed with the proclamation. So the question I would have for you is, don't you think there's an age appropriateness issue here that could be addressed that's maybe not as something maybe we could actually agree on, some of us?
I'm not sure your use of the word, I'm not sure what the agenda is. I mean, you keep using the word agenda, but you haven't really said like what.
Well, having 4 pride displays, that's...
Okay, so I'd ask you, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
ask you to, just to clarify what, when you say an agenda, there's a stated end state that comes with any agenda, so I'm not sure what that is. But to your question about age appropriateness, I mean, as a mother and as someone who was a voracious reader as a child and went to the library starting from the age of 3 years old, those are some of my most, formative memories I have. I don't ever remember not being guided by my parent and their values.
Do you think there might be some parents that would object to something like this being
I
offered to their children?
I said just like there would be, as
No,
Ms.
I mean,
Williams said, the
but
Bible,
no,
yes.
you're a lawyer. Reasonable parents, that it's reasonable to object to this as a parent of a young child. It would be a reasonable objection.
My purpose of coming here today, sir, was to make sure you understand that we have a voice down at the municipal level. It is a solid conservative voting block, and what we want is for you to respect the fact that we voted for those 5 commissioners, which is a wonderfully diverse group of people. I love and appreciate all 5 of them, and they're across the political spectrum, and they have all sorts of different beliefs and positions that they hold, and I feel very firmly that they truly do represent us well, and they have elected their library board, and that is where if we have an objection to that as citizens of the city of Leavenworth, then we need to go to the polls, we need to go make public comment there, we need to ask for new people to be voted. So I'm I appreciate that you also, as a citizen of Leavenworth County, are using your voice to do that. But you're not only a citizen, you are a representative in a governing body that represents us. And so what I'm asking, sir, is that you listen to our voice. So if you are going to go, if you're going as a private citizen like Stephen, I mean, please use your voice. I mean,
I ran on a platform of being a conservative Republican, pro-life, representing traditional family values. That's what I ran on. So when I see stuff like this, it's my job to speak out. I'm educating people. People don't know that this is in the library. They're being educated. That's part of our role here. And I respect every single one, including the mayor of the city commission. I don't respect when people feel like an agenda is being pushed on them. That's what I don't respect. And this whole pushing this kind of book and pushing the pride proclamations and the flying all the flags, it's disrespectful to the other part of the community that believes in social norms and traditions.
Since you haven't offered me what you believe that agenda to be, here's what I believe the agenda is. It's one of acceptance, inclusivity, and education. That's what a library is for. It's for everybody to come, to feel welcome, to feel seen, to be educated and have an opportunity to do that in a safe and nurturing environment. So that's what I believe the agenda is, and I am proud of my city commission for standing
Well, this
for that.
doesn't look like what that doesn't represent that agenda. This looks like we're trying to push this on kids.
Amy,
Okay. Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your comments are understood. I'm glad we understand what you're saying. I appreciate you taking time to come out here. Okay. Next we have Mike Trapp. Morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning.
Got 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
apologize. I'm running a little late and jumping into the conversation midway, so I hope I don't rehash any points.
That's good. Go ahead.
I want to open with a quote by one of my favorite writers, Frank Herbert. When religion and politics travel in the same cart, the riders believe nothing can stand in their way. Their movements become headlong faster and faster. They put aside all thoughts of obstacles and forget the precipice does not show itself to the man in a blind rush until it's too late. The Founding Fathers had a lot of concerns about the dangers of Christian sectarianism as a threat to democracy and comity between neighbors. The Establishment Clause sets forth a clear separation between politics and religion. I have heard, I don't know who said it, but I heard a quote, you're in trouble when politicians sound like preachers and preachers sound like politicians. According to citydata.com, 67% of Leavenworth County residents are not religious. The nuns are the largest group of folks in Leavenworth County, as in almost everywhere. Those are folks who are atheist, agnostic, spiritual but not religious, and folks who just don't go to church. Many folks who resonate with that, still go to weddings and funerals and have this kind of put into place. I wonder how much inappropriate it is to be in the public square. My folks were rebound. My grandma was very much super religious, and all of her kids rebounded from that. And I did. I've done 3 of their funerals for my father and my aunts and uncles, and I described them as existentialists, people who didn't think much about things that are ephemeral, but focused on the day-to-day living of loving their families and making a living. And that's the way most people are. And religion and politics don't always suit. As I've mentioned, I was a former city council member. I was part of the Municipal League of Cities. I was especially active in the central region. Columbia was, the biggest player by far in central Missouri, and I like to participate in recovery community. They say sometimes you need the meeting and sometimes the meeting needs you, and I like to bring that perspective from with a larger growing community with economic development, to bring that perspective. I was asked to pray one time at one of their meetings, and I gave very much the same kind of thing that I just talked about, how in the second ward of Columbia that I represented, there were not only churches, but there were also the Hindu temple, and then the largest groups of my constituents were not religiously affiliated, didn't hold those religious beliefs. And we wanted to make sure that we didn't make people feel uncomfortable. And so I deferred on praying, but offered up some gratitude for the folks who prepared the food, for nature, and the things that we could all agree upon, the fundamental basics of material reality. Your First Amendment rights don't go away when you win elected office. So, I want to acknowledge that folks do have the right to speak, but your rights of assembly and your rights of free speech do become curtailed when you become an elected official because there's open meetings law. And there's also just prudent governance that means that we want to present in a way that our constituents feel comfortable contacting us, that everyone feels a part of the government, and that allows for the proper growth and development of the city. The tenor of the public comments would pit the Christian community against the LGBTIA plus community. This is a false dichotomy. There are wide disparities within Christianity on sexual orientation and gender identity. Jesus preached, I'm moving into a little theology, I apologize for that, but exercising my First Amendment right. Jesus preached that salvation is a free gift for all. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and a second that is like it, love your neighbor as yourself, upon which rests all the law and the prophets. Jesus came to set aside a legalistic laundry list of things that you should and shouldn't do, but instead posited that what we must do is love, and the expression of that is where we determine. He said, everyone who loves is a child, he didn't say, I think it's Paul, said everyone who loves is a child of God and knows God because God is love, and that's how God's love is perfected in us. So theologically, we act as the living embodiment of God's love by expressing love and affirmation and support. It was very clear on sin. Jesus said, everyone who knows to do good and does it not, that is sin. We want to think of sin as a laundry list of things that you shouldn't do, but that's more like what parents tell their kids, don't touch the stove, don't do this. But what we're really told to do is that we need to act in love in a powerful way and promote that. Boy, that 5 minutes went real quick.
It always does, I tell you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I just have one question. Same question I asked the previous person. And from my perspective, everything I've said, I haven't involved religion in anything I've said. I've said that when I spoke to the city commission, I said it was dividing the community. I felt like it was driving a wedge, and it was not, we want to have unity in the community. I don't think this is a unity issue. But the issue I asked Ms. Bateman was, do you think that it is arguably reasonable for parents to believe that there could be established rules that govern age appropriateness for some of these materials?
I think when we're talking, a point I wanted to make that I didn't get to that answers to your question is that we conflate sexual immorality with issues of gender identity and sexual orientation. There are some things that are not age appropriate that people need to know, is that some of their friends might have two moms or might have two dads.
Understand,
nothing sexualized about that.
Just real quick answer though. There's sometimes that age appropriateness is an issue.
Yeah, so we have a library board that assesses those, and
I don't think they assessed very well from what I looked at.
Yeah, so sometimes people will disagree. There is a possibility. I also heard some statements about, in all of the testimony, about unity and bringing the community together. So that would be better. Just kind of us taking shots at each other through public comment is in a way that we move things forward. Things move forward through respect, through dialogue, through education, through learning. And so I would encourage.
I agree with you 100%.
I would encourage all of those things, and I think we do best when we meet in the middle and find those wide areas of common agreement and find ways that we do that. But we want to do that in a way that's affirming to folks. The other thing. Yes, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Logan Pinedo, Pinedo. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. Sometimes I destroy people's names. Welcome. You got 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Logan Pinedo, Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm here to clarify something important. I'm the one who requested the Pride Month proclamation for the city of Leavenworth. I did it as a resident, a voter and as somebody who cares deeply about the LGBTQIA plus community, and everyone of all ages. There's been talk that the mayor of Leavenworth is pushing an agenda. She's been accused of initiating something she didn't, and frankly, for something that shouldn't be controversial, that recognizing that there are LGBTQIA plus people in Leavenworth and that they deserve dignity. I've heard the word agenda thrown around a lot lately, and not surprised that it was brought up again here today. If you really want to know what the LGBTQIA plus agenda is, I'll start by telling you what it isn't. It is not about turning kids into queer kids. It is about making sure queer kids don't turn into dead kids. That is our reality. By organizing community events like a picnic, support groups, social outings, and by simply just showing up, we drastically reduce the odds of self-harm, depression, and suicide in the LGBTQIA plus community, especially for our youth. This isn't an opinion. This is backed by real data from sources like the Trevor Project and the CDC. Studies show that if an LGBTQIA plus child has just one supportive adult in their life, their risk of suicide drops significantly, their mental health improves, and their hope for their future returns. I went looking for data for Leavenworth County about LGBTQIA mental health, and I couldn't find any specific to Leavenworth County, but I'm working on that. I created a mental health survey focused on the LGBTQIA plus community right here at home. Once the responses are collected and reviewed, I'd be more than happy to share those findings with anyone on this commission or in the public who genuinely want to understand what our community is facing. One individual who has already taken the survey made a comment under the section that asks, what would you like local leaders to know about LGBTQIA plus mental health? And I felt that was worth sharing. It reads, I cannot meaningfully contribute to my community or society at large if I have to be someone I'm not. The truth is, showing the LGBTQIA plus community that they're not alone isn't radical, it saves lives. And they, in our community, will be better for it. Thank you.
I do have one question for her. And this is a different question because it is something that nationally that gets talked about when we're talking about gender issues, because a lot of this has to do with gender issues and people wanting to lead children to question their gender or have gender transformational surgeries. And even the Supreme Court recently said Tennessee is free to prohibit the gender transition surgeries on minors. So my question for you is, how many sexes are there, do you believe? Is there male and female, or are there more than two sexes?
Well, I am not a medical professional or a scientist.
So just your opinion.
I mean, there are the sexes you can be born with are male and female and intersex.
So there's male and there's female and there's intersex.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would draw a distinction under gender of having a different definition.
Yes.
There's many genders.
Yes, gender is different than the sex you were born with.
So I think that's where we have a difference of opinion in the culture. I think a lot of us that are traditional believe that it's male and female. That's it. That's what we believe. We don't believe in all those genders, and we don't believe in all of that. And we have every right to express that, just as you have the right to express your view. So that's what this is about. It's about the people that believe in the traditional values speaking out and saying that we still believe in those traditional values and we don't accept this redefinition.
I mean, it's science.
The gender basis is not science.
Hey, Logan, thank you. I mean, we're hearing a lot of comments out here today, and I don't want anybody in that audience to put all of us in one box, because certainly we're certainly not. So when questions are being asked or you present yourself, I'm listening. Okay, I don't want you to think that we're all agreeing or disagreeing with some comments that are coming from up here or out there. We all have our opinion. So so far, all the speakers have been very respectful, and I appreciate that. And with that said, I have, I believe, one more. Jimmy Nye. Morning, Jimmy.
Morning.
You have 5 minutes.
So my name is Jimmy Nye, 401 South 2nd Street, and I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. And I just want to talk about the concept of age-appropriate books and appropriateness in general with books. All books are scary. When I was a kid and I first read The Giving Tree, I was not prepared to realize that we lose friends and our bodies decay and we can die. When I first read Flowers for Algernon, I was not prepared to confront cruelty of the disabled. When I first read Frankenstein, I was not prepared to consider that I could destroy everyone I love through my own ambitions. And reading those books was uncomfortable. I still am uncomfortable thinking about The Giving Tree. I'm not joking about that. But they also made me the man I am today. And that is what books do. They introduce us to the unfamiliar. And they prepare us for new ideas, because unfamiliar ideas, grappling with them is how we grow. There's often a lot of talk about Mark Twain when it comes to appropriate books, and probably because he's considered America's greatest author. And why is that? Well, why are the stories of Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer cruise around the Mississippi so important? And it's because they expose the world to an unfamiliar reality. Twain wrote honestly about the pre-Civil War America, and the picture painted is not pretty. We laugh at Tom Sawyer convincing kids to paint a fence or watching his own funeral, but those books also introduce the world to a lot of cruelty, about racism, poverty, and an uncaring society. Twain set those books in pre-Civil War South, but he wrote them for a post-Civil War America. And the war was over, but the racism, cruelty, and moral cowardice, that was still there. He wrote it for, that honesty was scary and controversial, and Twain was accused of indecency. He was even outright banned in Concord, Massachusetts Public Library in 1885, where those realities were, you guessed it, unfamiliar. The reason we can say, in my day we read Mark Twain, not this crass drivel, is because Twain made the unfamiliar familiar. But in 1885, they actually said of Twain, in my day we read Shakespeare, not this crass drivel. Shakespeare's critics in his day also said, in my day we read Virgil, not this crass drivel. This is a common pattern, and thank God they weren't listened to, because those uncomfortable, unfamiliar ideas made our world better. Segregating books means segregating ideas. And I get it. The unfamiliar is scary. Huckleberry Finn is scary. Tom Sawyer is scary. Frankenstein is scary. Flowers for Algernon is scary. The Giving Tree is scary. And so are books where someone asks to be called they instead of she. Because all books are scary. And the public library is where kids can explore the unfamiliar with curiosity and freedom. It doesn't need locked doors. Besides, Mark Twain and the Kansans of 1885 taught us something. Kids can handle it. If the Kansans of 1885 believed their kids could explore the complexity of slavery and racism, I think Kansans of 2025 can trust our kids with a book about the word they. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. All righty. Mark, did you have anything else? Anything else? Okay. That was in public comment and administrative business. Do we have someone? Yeah, coming up.
I think Paul was good.
Nice to see you.
No, I know you want me to ask you a question, but I was actually pointing
We're calling Paul back here.
I was letting you off the hook, Jimmy.
You still gotta get coffee.
Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Paul Cromer, live on 131st Street, Leavenworth County. I think everyone needs to just take a deep breath. I listened to the comments last week about libraries and figured I would give my point of view on the subject. I can understand why so many people would be up in arms with all the rumors about book burnings that have been going on lately, especially with all the false information and censorship that has been occurring on social and legacy media over the last few years. You just don't know what to believe. So as a critical thinker, I am thankful for the 5 months that we had in 2022 that we had the Disinformation Governance Board. I do not believe that anyone is talking about banning or burning books or even censorship of books. However, I believe that you would agree that not all books are appropriate for all age groups. I think this is the main topic we need to stay focused on, age-appropriate books. At the heart of every library, there's a simple but profound truth. Everyone belongs. As long as you're wearing a face covering and social distancing, right? I couldn't resist just taking a little walk down Trust the Science lane. Depending on your belief system, libraries may or may not be part of a political arena. However, here is something we need to clearly say. It is the job of the government officials and employees to decide what a child should or should not be allowed to read. Because after all, children should not be exposed to adult content, right? Let's all not forget the important role that the school board, the city council, and the county commissioner plays in helping to give guidance and input about what is truly age appropriate when it comes to books. Ultimately, the solution for age appropriate books in our public and school libraries will only be found when families start working hand in hand with their local and state elected representatives, when our elected government officials sit silently by and allow the decisions of age-appropriate books to be made by a select few unelected, unaccountable, so-called experts that have no regard for the input of concerned parents, then it truly interferes with the personal and sacred bond between a parent and their child, and that is not okay. It's time to stand firm and make tough and wise decisions for the future of Leavenworth County. What will be the condition of this county when the children come of age? They are truly the future. What legacy will you leave them? I'm going to leave you with a quote from Thomas Sowell. Emotions neither prove nor disprove facts. There was a time when any rational adult understood this, but years of dumbed-down education and emphasis on how people feel have left too many people unable to see through this media gimmick. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, we'll move on. Thank you to all the speakers. Administrative business. Mark, you said you had nothing, or did you have something?
Administrative business, there's a public comment policy that was requested last week by you, Commissioner.
Yes, I did.
So that is your policies in there, and it's on your agenda for you to discuss.
Is this something we wanted to? Okay.
I think what we were looking for is maybe direction from the commission on changes that you may want to the current policy.
Okay. Does everybody have
Not
a chance to
necessarily to
review
approve
this?
those today, but just to get the direction.
Give us a summary.
I'm sorry.
It's been a long week.
Well, I just got in last night. My dad had a stroke in Georgia. I just came in last night, so I'm reading it as we speak. So please bear with me.
Maybe Mark can summarize it.
Well, I'm going to ask that in just a second too. I just want to make sure there's nothing jumping out at us. I guess Mark, on this, what I wanted is I didn't want anyone that wanted to speak. I want them to be able to have the opportunity, and I think that's what it does here. I want them to have the 5 minutes that they did it. A chair runs the meeting, so if they wanted to run over, sometimes I've let it, or if they wanted more than just 5 speakers. I thought it was always important to hear everybody's comments, just like we did this morning. And so that's where I was heading. But if that's what that says, and you guys are looking at it, that's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to have anybody that didn't have the opportunity to address their elected officials.
Hey, Commissioner, the current policy, the way it states, is we have 25 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, so 5 people, 5 minutes. And then anything that runs over would be at the end of the meeting. Also, at the first of the meeting, the public comment is reserved for items on the agenda per the current policy. And anything that's not on the agenda would be at the end of the meeting. So I think those were the things that...
I think the issue I have is we ask people to come in here, and sometimes our agendas are very long, and people have lives. I've always felt that, and commissioners, y'all tell me, I've always felt that these comments, whoever wants to speak should have the opportunity the first of the meeting.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, Vanessa.
to legal. Are we able to have an executive session for legal counsel regarding this matter?
Yes, we are.
I would request that we're able to have an executive session with legal counsel regarding this matter.
I have no problem, especially since I haven't done that. So is that a motion?
Yes.
Or no, do we have it next week or part of this one? What's it do?
We actually, I think at the end of today's meeting, we have.
Okay, then let's just hold off on that then. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. Then we'll bring that back to us, if that's all right. Okay. Good job, Vanessa. Next thing we have is comments. Mike, administrative, you have anything to the group?
I wanted to follow up with one thing that I was going to outline is there's an executive order number 14168, and I wanted to read a couple excerpts from that. This is from the President of the United States, issued on January 20th. Purpose: across the country, ideologues who deny the biological reality of sex have increasingly used legal and other socially coercive means to permit men to self-identify as women and gain access to intimate single-sex spaces and activities designed for women, from the women's domestic abuse shelters to women's workplace showers. This unhealthy road is paved by an ongoing and purposeful attack against the ordinary and long-standing use and understanding of biological and scientific terms, replacing the immutable biological reality of sex with an internal, fluid, and subjective sense of self unmoored from biological facts. And then the last thing I'll read is policy and definitions. It is the policy of the United States to recognize two sexes, male and female. These sexes are not changeable and are grounded in fundamental and incontrovertible reality. Sex shall refer to an individual immutable biological classification as either male or female. Sex is not a synonym for and does not include the concept of gender identity. So that's an executive order. And one last thing is another executive order that was issued is across the country today, medical professionals are maiming and sterilizing a growing number of impressionable children under the radical and false claim that adults can change a child's sex through a series of irreversible medical interventions. This dangerous trend will be a stain on our nation's history, and it must end. Countless children soon regret that they have been mutilated and begin to grasp the horrifying tragedy that they will never be able to conceive children of their own or nurture their children through breastfeeding. Moreover, these vulnerable youths' medical bills may rise throughout their lifetimes, as they are often trapped with lifelong medical complications, a losing war with their bodies, and tragically, sterilization. That's what these issues are about.
Anything else, Mike?
That's it.
Okay, I have nothing.
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Vanessa?
So, economic development. I am asking to see if the board would support a joint meeting between cities, legislators, also interested parties like LCDC. I'm eyeing an evening in the first week of August, a Wednesday evening. I've heard there was kind of a committee previously.
Oh, believe me, there was a committee. What can I say?
And I'm the new girl on the block, the new kid on the block, so I would just like the opportunity to see everyone at the same table, at the same level, discussing, what the cities want, what LCDC has in mind, what the county wants, and I just wanted to see if you would allow that.
Michael?
I think it should. I think we need to really think it through. I'm not opposed, but it needs to be a very tight agenda.
Okay.
Because, and maybe we should even have a pre-work session or discussion about it, because I think that could become really. If we don't have an agenda for that meeting, then I'm not sure what it accomplishes.
Well, one thing, Vanessa, I don't have a problem. we're going around right now meeting with the cities.
Right.
We've had Leavenworth, had a great meeting with Leavenworth. We've got Lansing tomorrow. I would ask that we finish these up, and maybe we can do it by then.
Okay.
Because that may come up as an agenda item that something we're not thinking about. So I have no problem with us setting that up and meeting, but I just want to make sure that we may have a chance to talk to the incorporated and unincorporated cities if they want to. Would that meet your?
Yes, because my thought process is to try to get everyone at the same table, because I think the relationships are important between, like, we're meeting with Lansing, so I think that relationship, right, between the county and the city is important. But without getting everyone at the same table, especially when it comes to LCDC, I think it's hard to make sure. I'm being selfish in this request. I want to try to make sure that I understand what LCDC offers, what kind of requirements we should have on them for funding, and I want to make sure that we're representing everybody as best as possible. And so that's my reasoning.
This meeting we had when I first came on, I think Micah asked for it. That's been 4 or 5 years ago. I think you always should meet with these groups and speak with them. I don't have any problem. Education is always a good thing, no matter what side of the aisle you're sitting on. So I have no problem. The only thing I'm asking is that we meet with the cities before we do that.
Okay.
And then August, would that be too early, Mark? I know we got Lansing.
We have not scheduled with Baser or Tonganoxie yet. Originally, the direction was once each quarter. So Baser would be the next quarter, and then Tonganoxie the quarter after that. We can try to ramp those meetings up and see what their availability is. Obviously, all the community municipalities are approving budgets right now.
That's a concern.
So their availability may be somewhat limited, but we can reach out to them and see.
And Mark, the budgets are approved, what, about the third week in August, something like that? Was it 20?
Yeah, the end of August is when the budgets are completed.
And that was my concern, too. I think...
My goal was to have it before.
You wanted to have it before?
Right. Since we will be discussing funding of the LCDC, because some cities believe that LCDC,
that's all over the board.
Yeah,
I've heard it.
Yeah.
If that's what the board wants, we can direct Mark to try to set those up before that.
Well, we're having budget hearings when they will come in.
Yeah.
So could we possibly incorporate that into the budget?
Let's not tie that up together, because then you're going to have every city, everything like that, and that's going to be an all-day event.
Well, I mean,
and Senator Klemp is new as well since
What's that?
Senator Klemp is new as well since you all met before.
He'd be for it, but I think that should be a separate thing that we do.
Yeah.
A work session?
Yeah, just a separate one by itself.
Okay.
Jeff, what do you feel?
Sure, we'll try again.
Mr.
I think we should have a work session before we attempt this. It's going to be dicey.
Okay.
And I know the facility size will need to be large enough to encompass it, and I would like for it to be recorded if possible. So if you guys have facility suggestions, my thought was to potentially hold it in the Leavenworth boardroom, because I've seen larger amounts of people in there, and we're used to setting up recording in there.
Lansing has a larger one.
Lansing would be better.
I can always check with the mayor
Okay.
in town, but I just need
Perfect.
a date so we can talk about it. Well, we can talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, we'll have to check our calendars.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Just me a couple of days. Mark?
So what I'm hearing is you want a work session for you all to discuss what that agenda would be before we schedule it, but to try to get it scheduled that first week in August as far as the joint work session.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. I think that's what Mike said, too. Yeah, have an early one on that, and then we try to set it up. I know it's time sensitive, so if we can try to make that work. Okay? Everybody good?
Thank you.
Okay. Vanessa, you've said enough. That's all good. Okay, let's go to Jeff.
I don't have anything.
Good man. Okay, we've got the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Got a motion, a second, any discussion? Righty. Commissioner Stephen? Aye.
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 All righty. Moving on to formal board action. Coming down, you two. Morning. Consider a motion to find that the proposed final plat as outlined in case DEV-25-023 and 024 is compliant with the county zoning and subdivision regulations, and move that the proposed final plat be conditionally approved and accepted by this board, subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report and is adopted by the Planning Commission. Good morning.
Good morning. Case DEV 2523 and 24 is a plating request for a two-lot subdivision located at 19701 163rd Street. This parcel probably looks familiar to you all as it was recently rezoned, or at least a section of it was recently rezoned to R143.
Yeah.
This is the resulting plat from that request since it was approved. They are splitting off roughly 1.5 acres around an existing farmhouse, and they are going to keep the remainder of the parcel as agricultural land per their application. This split did result in two exemptions that needed to be approved, one for lot depth to lot width of lot 2, and then the other for non-conforming structures as they are splitting the single-family residence from the existing accessory agricultural buildings.
Right.
The Planning Commission did vote to approve those exemption requests, and then they also voted to recommend to this body approval of the final plat with the exemptions. So if you have any other questions, let us know.
Commissioners? I don't. We discussed this before. Yeah, they've been here before. I'm going to give a motion if we don't have any more discussion.
Motion to find that the proposed final plat as outlined in case DEV 25-023 and 024 is compliant with the county zoning and subdivision regulations, and move that the proposed final plat be conditionally approved and accepted by this board, subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report and as adopted by the Planning Commission.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mr. Stevens?
Aye.
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 All right, very good. Is that all you guys are here for today? Okay, we get you in and out quick. You guys have
Not on
a
the
good,
hot seat too long.
you guys have a good day. Item B, consider a motion to approve a contract with Clearwater Enterprises for natural gas services. Morning, Aaron.
Commissioners, what you have before you is actually an extension with the addition of Cushing to a current contract. Clearwater provides us with natural gas. This last year's savings on the buildings that they provided was just shy of $30,000 on natural gas versus purchasing directly from Kansas Gas or Southern Star. The main reason for this is Cushing was previously or is currently with a separate natural gas provider. This would put it, instead of us having two providers on there, to one. So the addition of Cushing onto this would also result in the additional savings being rolled with Clearwater rather than a separate entity. Questions, comments, concerns?
I like it when you bring things like that to us.
And thanks for the air conditioning.
Well,
like
you're
that.
currently not running your boiler, so it doesn't make up reheat. That's why the building's as cold as it is. We did have issues over the weekend. Staff put in good time. We are waiting on some parts, but both the Justice Center as well as the courthouse are now back in acceptable ranges.
And thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's an old building, guys. It's going to happen. Okay, do you have any discussion on this? If not, I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve a contract with Clearwater Enterprises for natural gas services.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mr. Stevens?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you, Aaron. Consider a motion to approve an agreement with Mod RN Health, Inc. for healthcare and coordination services for county employees for 2 years. Good morning.
Attached is a agreement for you to review for a 2-year contract with Modern Health as we continue to look for ways to minimize our health costs and be able to give the best benefit to our employees while continuing to keep active in the market and offer things as a premier employer. We have talked about having this on site for our employees to be able to utilize this. Switching from Aetna to Blue Cross in the fall, Blue Cross has agreed to reimburse costs for the first year of the service, so it wouldn't cost us anything for the first year.
That's a good thing.
So we can see how it's going to be utilized and continue to get that, kind of built into our culture and get up and running. Mark has worked, and Misty as well, on the contract, so if we have questions.
Mark, you got anything to add to this?
Commissioners, I think we've discussed this several times. Yep. This is actually the final approval so that we can move forward. The intent is to locate this over in the Cushing building in an office space that currently exists, so there's no cost for that. The startup costs are going to be, like Monica said, will be reimbursed through Blue Cross Blue Shield incentive that they're offering. We really want to see how this helps with our claims, and we think that overall that this will represent a reduction in our claims, which should lower our insurance premium costs long term, and that's also why Blue Cross has agreed to fund a portion of it, well, all of it the first year.
Well, that's a good thing. I know we've talked about it a couple of years. This is getting folks that don't have to go run to the ER or something like that. And that helps them and lowers premium. The two things you said, make sure I'm clear. This is employees will not pay anything, and this will be using the old Cushing building.
Yeah, this will be located in the Cushing building. I've worked with Aaron already. We've talked about entrances so that employees can get in and out quickly. There is no cost. There's no copay. There's no cost for the service. And it does have a 24-hour aspect to it as well. It won't be the clinic won't be open 24 hours, but they will have access 24 hours via phone to a nurse practitioner, a physician, or a physician's assistant.
Mark, I have a question. I'm sorry I have to ask you. I haven't had to go into detail. When will this kick off?
It will start with our benefit year, which is
October
1st.
Yeah. October. Good. Excellent. Commissioners, any questions on this?
Just a comment, if you look at this, there's some questions that I did pose to them about liability for insurance and the clinic, some of just you can read through it, but they have agreed that they will follow the health department regulations that we follow as far as Title 10. We will not do abortion counseling or referrals at this location.
Okay, any other questions, Monica? Okay, then entertain a motion.
Okay, just a second. Move to approve the agreement with Mod RN Health, Inc. for healthcare and coordinated services for county employees for 2 years.
Have a motion of a second.
Second.
And I do have a question for Mark.
Yeah, go ahead.
At the end of the 2 years, according to the questions, you said it would. At this time, they're estimating $183,000 to continue. But is that possibly negotiable down the road?
Obviously, it's going to depend on the market. But one of the things that is negotiable is who's covered, which could change the services. The way it's currently set up is all employees are covered, and anyone who's on our insurance. The commission at that time could make a decision on whether or not they wanted to cover everybody on the insurance or if it was just going to be for employees only. But the price, I think, is fairly fixed. Our broker did a really good job of trying to negotiate with them as much as possible to get this cost down. So I wouldn't expect it to go down on a per employee cost, but there's ways we could change the coverage that we're getting, and that could amend the cost. But what we're hoping is that the savings that we see via the claims will help our experience and then therefore our rates, so that the savings will offset the cost.
And I believe you said that we would get some kind of a summary of the approximate number of people that were pulled out of the regular service and that we serviced.
Yeah, we will be able to have statistics, not specifics, so that our broker would be able to tell us the statistics on who is using that facility versus going to an ER or clinic, which then represents a savings, obviously, to the county. So they'll track the statistics, obviously not the specifics.
So this will be a wonderful service for county employees. They'll be able to go there and no cost.
Yeah.
No cost.
And also potentially save us on insurance
I
premiums.
think it'll save everybody premiums, and then also this goes out when y'all do your yearly update when you have people sign up. This information will be going out in October. I mean, when you bring them in, I guess, how are we going to inform them? But it's
We
usually
have
when
open
you do the
enrollment
health
in
week.
August.
August?
So that's
Okay.
when, and everyone will be required to go through an active enrollment since we're switching carriers. So we'll have an opportunity to speak to each individual.
Very good.
All employees will be required to meet with ModRN as part of the open enrollment process to get entered into the system. The other thing where we're going to notice the savings is they're going to handle our work comp reviews. So anybody who needs to go down for work comp evaluation will go there instead of to an outside agency that we're currently paying for. They will also be providing the health screenings that we do each year that currently are out at the EMS station. The screenings we do, they will be providing that for us. So that's also a savings. That's helping to offset the cost of this program.
Good. Any other questions or concerns? I think we have a motion and a second. I'll go ahead. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
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 Okay. We're done. Very good.
It's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for all the work from everybody involved in that.
Thank you.
Consider a motion to adopt the proposed data retention policy as presented. Come on down, John.
Good morning, Commissioners. The county is currently in the process of migrating its email from a server-based storage platform to a cloud-based storage platform. What this policy does is it establishes that the county will retain and journal all emails of all users of the Leavenworth County email system, including full-time, part-time, and elected officials and other authorized users. The county emails will be retained in full accordance with applicable laws, regulations, and administrative rules, and this policy is not intended to contradict the data access policy that came into effect on March 1st, 2018.
This is just a follow-up for the decision we made earlier. This is codified.
Yeah. Okay, you don't have any questions? I'll take a motion.
Motion to adopt the proposed data retention policy as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Very good. Any other discussion? Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
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 All righty, moving right along. We keep you too long? All right, item E, consider a motion to authorize the chairperson to sign the sales agreement for the replacement of current electronic health record system with Patagona, I believe, software or something like that. Welcome.
Morning, Commissioners. In front of you is the request to sign into a sales agreement with Patagonia Software. This is what I've been talking about over the last few quarterly reports. This replaces an old health record system that is antiquated and probably soon to be non-supported. We're fortunate enough this is grant covered. This is going to cover the total cost of integration over and starting the new software with us, as well as the next 5 years of total cost for the new software.
Is this everything covered? I'm sorry, I'm going to the back page.
It's all inclusive.
It's all, okay. Okay. Comments? Questions? Motion?
Motion to authorize the chairperson to sign the sales agreement for the replacement of current electronic health record system with Patagonia Software.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any more discussion? Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
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 All righty. Didn't want to keep you too long, Jamie. Okay, moving on to presentations, discussions. Presentations are materials of general concern where no action or vote is requested and anticipated. And what we're going to start with some funding requests. Starting off, it's Historical Society's Museum funding request. Baser Historical Museum is first. Is anybody from Baser here? Yes. Come on down.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Before we start on this, I visited with the county administrator. Just wanted us to consider this idea as we get to budget time. But one idea would be to we haven't been funding the historical societies the last couple of years, but,
No, we haven't.
But if we put a pool of money together and appoint an arts and historical society committee to make recommendations on projects rather than us funding the day-to-day working of the museums, but we would be here to fund projects. And we would have a committee. We'd each appoint a member. They would make recommendations to us these folks would present to them. Just a
Commissioners? If I was going to look at that, I don't know what time is on our side. Mike, I have no problem in saying, but right now I look at it, each one of them gets to settle it to ourselves. If we do a joint one like that, we're pulling money.
This might not be able to happen this budget year. For this budget year, we may have to.
Yeah, I would like to bring it up. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a discussion going forward, but not this year. Is everybody okay with that?
I would like to see maybe a work session.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
I was just trying to bring it up.
But what budget? What it is right now?
Okay. I think what you have is some requests for funding. Obviously, there is no funding in this year's budget or in last year's budget,
right.
So this would be a new item for the 2026 budget. This is not for this year, 2026, and so you have those requests. Any of this funding would also have to follow our current outside agency funding policy, so please keep that in mind as well. And I think in that policy, it does call out that we should not be funding operations, but projects.
Gotcha. Okay, let's start again. Go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to share with you some of the needs of the Baser Historical Museum Society. We are funded solely by donations and membership dues, a small city grant that we receive, and then we have appreciated in the past the grants that we've received from the county. I appreciate that we need to be able to support ourselves with our own fundraising efforts and the membership and donation dues that we get. And we do, of course, work diligently to fund our day-to-day operations with those activities. And I can appreciate that you would want us to then perhaps use county grant money to fund specific projects. We just recently received a grant from Humanities Kansas to create a Vietnam War exhibit, and so those things are helpful. But at the same time, if we don't have funding that keeps us operating day to day, it doesn't help us just to have money for those projects. So the application we made for 2026 budget does ask that maybe those funds could be used to purchase display cases, upright shelving, retractable banners. We need to replace some awnings on the outside of our building. And of course, there's always building repairs. Now, we didn't request anything except for the awnings this year. And then we also requested UV ray protection for our doors and windows. So if the county can help us with those things, we really appreciate it.
Okay, the city gives you $4,000.
No, the city typically gives us $2,500 out of their budget funding. Now, they also have the mayor's golf.
Yeah.
I never know what to call it exactly, but if he has some monies available, he has given us an extra $1,000 from that.
But I guess what I'm saying is, I love museums. I guess what I'm saying is you go before the governing body during budget time and request these funds. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
You don't have any physical plant issues right now that you don't have a roof that's falling apart or any direct issues that would complicate you existing for the next year?
No, our roof has recently been replaced. Your grant money that you gave us in 2022, I believe, replaced our roof for us. Well, it repaired it, and then we had to have some replacing done. So we are in very good shape for an old building, 1910 building. All repairs have recently been made, and we have even updated we put a new coating on the floor and painted all the walls, and so we look good.
Very good. Any other questions? All righty, we appreciate you coming down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tonganoxie Community Historical Museum. Come on down. Good morning.
How's the weather in Tonganoxie?
Pretty hot.
Yeah. Go right ahead.
So, my name is Chris Roberts. We sent you a packet, which I assume you've read. I think before we start, I just want to thank you for considering doing this again, and to note that we are still very appreciative of the fact that we first got a grant from you all in 2007, and that allowed us to purchase the Past Perfect program, where we keep track of all of our artifacts and archives and photos. So we have asked for some help in making the bathrooms in the basement of the Reno Church. Reno Church is a historical building from Reno. When it was in Reno, it had a fellowship hall, so we built that fellowship hall again back in the early 90s.
That was an old Methodist church, right?
Old Methodist church from Reno. So the church moved to the historical site. Our volunteers, sold concessions at auctions and raised the money to pour a basement and put the toilet rooms in. They could use some renovation. These toilet rooms have one grab bar made out of PVC, and they just need the renovations. The flooring is about 30 years old. So that's what we are looking to do. We just did this in the barn with the help of a grant from the city of Tonganoxie, and the results are really stunning, and it's nice. We'd like to do the same thing.
So if you don't get it, you still will be able to continue operating and everything.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, there are no plumbing issues. I mean, there are no plumbing issues other than the fixtures are old, and a lot of that can be done by our volunteers. What we would like to do is to do it right. Doing it right will take a little bit more. It will take longer. So
and I think with the Historical Society there in Tonganoxie, we mostly have been funding projects. We have
almost always asked for capital improvements from the county.
Right.
We always thought that that's what you wanted to do. If you want to do something different,
that's what we want to do.
Okay. We generally, our funding sources prefer to do capital improvements, like the Leidy grant or the city. Although we're going to see. So, any other questions?
Any other questions? All righty. Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming down, finding material with us.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Leavenworth Historical Society. Anybody from the Leavenworth? Lisa. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go right ahead.
Pleased to be here. We were actually very surprised that you decided to grant us this opportunity again to come and visit you.
We wanted to see you. Go ahead.
I'm Lisa Weekly. I'm currently president of the Leavenworth County Historical Society, and again, thank you for letting me be here. Our grant request is a little different. We are not here for a brick and mortar project. We are here to introduce you to the Spirit of the Buffalo. You may have seen the statues. They are right now being installed. The closest one here, ready installed, would be on the Lansing City Hall. Yeah. I have a feeling you've seen that.
Yep.
Last year, we were awarded a 60-40 Kansas tourism grant to develop this community art project. And it is to attract tourism and enhance the Leavenworth County experience, that these buffalo statues will be placed throughout the county. They've been painted in theme by local artists, and this is to support tourism coming to the area, to help our local businesses, to increase visitations to our area. It's also to raise revenue for the Historical Society and also to support our arts community. We know that supporting and partnering with the arts is one of the ways to bring historical tourism and destination tourism to our community. There are 10 buffalo statues that have been handcrafted and painted. That was the first herd. We are on to the second herd, and that was originally supposed to be 10 other statues, but there actually are 13. So it became a very popular request. And you'll see those throughout different places in the community. And we've also partnered with the city of Leavenworth. There's 4 city properties in downtown Leavenworth. Tonganoxie also is one of the recipients from their historical society to have one of the statues on display. Is there any questions that I can answer for you? Our request is for $10,000 to do the marketing and promotion of these statues. We wanted to go through different types of marketing extensively to the Kansas City metro area, and that would include billboards, printed advertising, website, social media, videos, printed ad in newspapers and travel magazines.
Very good. Any questions or comments? I like them. Go ahead, Mike.
Are there any large capital improvement projects that you foresee in the next 5 years that you guys are going to have to be looking for funding?
We are a wonderful old house. We were under the impression that we're on the grant request in the past, we've come for capital improvement projects. Right now, not major in the next 5 years. There is a small roof project that we would need to entertain. But previously, we have funded our own, through our own finances, the things that we've come to in the past would have been the porch repair, the trim repair. Our roof is in good shape except for the cupola. That would need attention. We believe we would be able to handle that ourselves, although if you are, looking for capital improvement projects that you would prefer this grant request, we could entertain that in the future. It's an old house. There are always things that need to be done and need to be worked on, like many of the others.
Yeah, absolutely true, Lisa. Vanessa.
Hi. I was under the impression that there's some glass negatives that are heavy that are stored on the upper floors, and you were looking for storage alternatives? Is that?
We are. Currently, we are looking to build what we call an archival storage annex on our property. And we have submitted, worked with a contractor. We are working right now with the city of Leavenworth and the Kansas State Preservation to come to a compromise on what that building can be. We made a first proposal that was turned down, and because it didn't meet the requirements of the Historical Preservation Society. So we're trying to come to a compromise on that.
Could you talk about the specifics of why it was turned down?
We had a very grand project. Our first project was very grand, and it was, I wish I could share a picture with you, it was a brick building that would be on the property. That was millions of dollars. It would probably be today $3-4 million for us to build that brick facility. And that was almost impossible for us in this economy to raise those type of funds. So we scaled down our expectations. And what we did is we took a smaller facility where most of it would be a metal building. And the metal building, because it was the metal was exposed. Kansas Historic disqualified it because it was a metal building. They wanted to look more and be more compatible with the look and feel of the Carroll Mansion Museum, which would mean a brick facade. So we most likely will need to go back, and which will be more money, more funding that we would have to come up with to do that brick facade, to make it compatible looking with the Carroll Mansion.
So do you currently have a storage need? Are you over capacity storage-wise, or?
We are at capacity with storage, and we are currently still, working on that. And it will take us some time probably to work through that. The glass plate negatives with their weight do cause an issue, but it is more than that. Every drawer, closet, nook, and cranny is filled with artifacts, and we do continue to get artifacts. We did it recently. We celebrated the Carroll Mansion's 60th anniversary, and I took in 2 requests of artifacts that, so people still are sharing that history with us. We have to be more judicious on what we take in, but we are still, getting those things. So we do need to find alternatives. Even back in the 1960s, they knew that we would eventually outgrow, the house, and that we would need additional facilities. So,
thank you.
Any other questions?
If you want to volunteer for your organization, what does somebody need to do?
Oh, you just need to come and show up.
That was a
We could
softball.
find, yeah, we could find anything from working on the grounds to being a docent to I have an open board seat if you're kind of interested in that. We're looking for additional help on that.
You opened the door.
You can just come and see me, and I can talk to you of many things.
You got places.
So, this is aired, so I hope people will take that up.
Who are the artists that worked on?
Pardon me?
The artists.
I knew you would ask me that. I am not the cheerleader or the lead for this project. Actually, for instance, the one artist I know, only because I know her personally, is Keita Kelly. And in Tonganoxie, and Keita Kelly and her daughter worked on that statue together. The local artists, I can tell you how they were chosen, is Alan Coughlin and Denise Souza. A board was developed. They presented, and there's also a representative, one of the professors from St. Mary's College, too, was a panel of judges. And they submitted their design work, and it was judged by that panel. And I should have brought the poster to you this morning. I should not have walked out with that. It was a 50-50 shot, and I said, no, you're not going to want it. Interested, I only have a short period of time, and I should have brought the poster. But if you do visit the Historical Society, we do have a poster that has all of the artists and all of the designs. And right now, since they're being installed, you'll probably be able to go to a couple of locations and view them.
Well, thank you to all the artists and to the Historical Society for working together with everyone that's involved in the project. I think, if I'm not mistaken, County Treasurer Caleb Gordon's wife, Becky Gordon, was maybe
the
one
Kansas Leavenworth Arts Association was
It's a separate
local artist
project.
group that we worked with.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, First City Museum. First City Museum. There you are. Morning.
My name is Audrey Sanders, and I'm the treasurer of the Museum Association. Our museum, the First City Museum, is part of the Leavenworth Historical Museum Association. We have 3 museums here in town, and so we're desperately always looking for money, and we appreciate the opportunity to present our case to you this morning. I am glad to find out that you're interested in the physical aspects of our properties. The First City Museum is located down on Delaware Street and an old Safeway building. So we're always looking for something to help us out to make it look better and to operate better. Our project that we asked for this year is to restore the garage. The old, it was a storage building for the Buffalo Bill Committee, and it was in Haymarket Square. And when the committee disbanded, we took the building down to our location on Delaware. And it's over the years it served us as a storage unit and a place to stage our many garage sales from. And right now it looks pretty tacky, and we wanted to address that and make it look a little better because it desperately needs a new roof, and the soffits are in bad shape, and the boards that go around the bottom of it are deteriorating and falling off. We had the first, I think probably one of the first murals that was proposed for Leavenworth painted on the west side of that building. It shows the buffaloes grazing on the prairie. And later, a couple years ago, we got a grant from the city to help us do the mural on the side of the building. I think it's the only one that depicts Native Americans as a camp. And so we want to make that area of the yard look a lot better. So we're asking for funding for the garage. We desperately need a new roof, and we've gotten a very reasonable bid on that project. And so we also need signage. We have people coming into the museum saying, I didn't know you were here. Gee, this is beautiful. Why don't people know about it? And so we thought, well, maybe we need a bigger sign, something that would smack them in the face as they would go down Delaware Street. And so we would like to have a little bit of funding for that, too. And so other than that, we're in pretty good shape. Our old building is holding together. The heating system works and the air conditioning system works and all that. So we would like to have consideration for those 2 projects.
Commissioners, any questions? I think that's pretty clear.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, Fred Harvey Museum, National. Oh. Yeah, we do. Pretty cool, though. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Jeannie Hazels, the chairperson of the Fred Harvey Museum, the historical house on 7th and Olive that was built in 1869. We continually try to work and restore the building. In the past years, we appreciate all your support from the county that has helped us in many projects. We're trying to return the home to its original grandeur, the carriage house as well as the main house. What I'm asking for today is we're having a little problem and have been limping along with the boiler system. It's a hot water system, and we've had a pretty harsh winter this past winter, and I was over there almost every day that I could in our snowstorms to go and check it to make sure that none of the pipes had broken and ruined any of our things that we've restored. So right now I'm just asking for some help for either the repair or to replace the boiler system in the home. And I have an estimate here, which is just an estimate of $17,750.
That would be the whole project. That'd pay for the whole thing.
Cover the whole thing?
Yes.
Commissioners, any questions? I think it's kind of clear cut. Okay, go ahead,
Are you
Mike.
open day? Tell me what your schedule is if a person wants to take a tour or what.
Because we're
Where are you
still
at now?
restoring,
Yeah.
we're still restoring it, but I do take tours upon request, and I have a Facebook page and also email where people contact me.
So they
for
could just enter
tours.
like on Facebook. You could just put in Harvey House, Leavenworth. Okay.
And I'm with the Leavenworth Historical Museum Association. We're one of the three, and I just when people email me, I set up an appointment and go meet them.
We used to live right across the street in the Yellow House.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
it's a lovely neighborhood.
It is.
But it's big grounds. There's lots that I have to constantly, try to get volunteers, but that's sometimes difficult as well, as all museums know.
yeah, it's kind of. I think they've established a historical district right there. At least they had when I lived there. But yeah, it'll be really nice when you get it open and it's ready to be toured. That
Yeah,
was
we're
a very
working on the
historic
floors
place.
right now, but the boiler's the big thing because right now, so I can tend to it when it gets cold again.
Yeah, you want to be warm.
Yeah.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you. Okay, Sylvia Parker Carousel Museum. Who we got? Come on down. Good morning.
My name's Rick McDowell. I'm sort of the acting director of the C.W. Parker Carousel Museum. We're part of the Leavenworth one of the three of the Leavenworth Historical.
Okay.
And we provide a fun and safe place for families to bring their kids to ride the carousel and see history that was in the earlier part of the 1900s from the C.W. Parker Carousel Museum. And the building's going on 20 years old. We have some air conditioning maintenance that needs to be upgraded. We would also like to get better advertising. If allowed, we'd like to put a LCD sign in front of the building. We have people, when we have the Leavenworth Fall Festival, we're sort of the center of activity. We have people come in that say, "We didn't know you exist." And I'm like, "You lived in Leavenworth for 20 years and must not come downtown because, it's a big building downtown." But
yes, it is.
in the past, we appreciate grants that you have given us, and we just like to continue operations. I know after COVID, we've lost over 50% of our volunteers as we are a strictly volunteer operation. We used to be open 4 days a week. We're barely able to find enough volunteers to be open on Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 5. We used to open at 11, but due to the lack of volunteers, we've had to cut our hours to 1 to 5.
Yeah, it had a lot of people during that time.
I know, it's yeah.
Really did. Any questions?
So you're in need of volunteers if people are watching.
We would love to have volunteers. I mean, we would like to open earlier
Volunteers.
on Saturdays.
Vanessa, red, white, and blue.
Because I know we miss out on when the city market, opens up on Saturdays. We have people, stop by and say, "Boy, we wish you were open at,
Yeah.
Well,
earlier."
I know
but
people that have lots of extra time.
It's not me.
We're always looking for volunteers. Yeah, we're a fun group.
Mike always shifts it off to somebody else. He never raises his hand. But anyway,
Yeah, I've been
delegate.
I've been with the group when it started, 30 years ago of trying to obtain a carousel for the Leavenworth. So I've been with the group.
It's pretty impressive.
It is. It is.
Jeff, do you have something?
Where's the third bear? Are the bears still down there? The two bears from the plaza?
I don't think we've ever had bears.
Bears aren't down? Where are they at? Which one?
Oh, they're First City Museum.
Are there three or two? We know where is it the Papa Bear that's missing?
We were told that at one time there were three, but we only have two, and they're the large
left the state.
They tend to wander off.
They were at the plaza.
I remember,
There
yeah,
was
the old
three.
plaza.
There was the Papa Bear was the big
Yep,
one, the mama,
yep.
and then there was a baby.
Yep.
So do you have two big ones, or you have the baby and the mama?
Somebody told us that there used to be a small one, a baby bear.
Yeah.
There was.
So the baby's missing.
That's why I got kidnapped.
Did you play on them, Jeff?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well,
They were
I got
awesome.
kids that dance.
So
I
I'm always
played on
amazed
them.
at how fast the carousels, those old
Yes, I
carousels
was
go.
going to say, the fastest one, we run 8 miles an hour. Fastest one that actually made me get sick is in Holland, Michigan. At the they have a park there, and they run 12 miles an hour.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And I've never had issues with rides, but that ruined my day.
Have you ever been to the one that just inside of Colorado?
No, yeah.
It's fast.
Yes. We get people come and say, "Wow," because they go to Worlds of Fun or the one at the Royal Stadium.
They're so slow.
And I tell them, I can walk faster than I said. You almost don't even see the thing move. Yeah, we get people come and go, "Wow, we've never ridden anything," and we tell them that's the speed that it was in 1913. We maintain everything.
Well,
but I was going to tell you, we do have 2 Kansas jackrabbits. When you were asking about there, and that's we're one of the only carousels that still have Parker jackrabbits. I think he only made like 3 carousels in his whole history, and we're the only ones that still have a pair of Kansas jackrabbits.
Okay, now that you got everybody fired up, Mike, any other?
My daughter and my mother do love it. Thank you for what you do.
We appreciate everybody coming down.
Yeah, it really is something else.
We continue to hope to run another 20 years.
We hope so too.
I won't be there, but thank you for your
All
time.
right, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
It says here outdoor LCD advertising sign 7,500. Is that an estimate, or you actually got?
That is an estimate because we one of our members went down to get some of the requirements of what the city allows. I know our church has been looking at an LCD sign, and it was going to run around 7,500. So I was just using that as a ballpark because I really don't have down to. I know the city only allows you to have a certain size and it has to be so high above the ground. So I need to go talk to the city planning and zoning, I guess, to get what we will be actually allowed to have.
Considering we're on a very, very tight budget, and not saying no
Right.
to your to this request, could you get those ramifications, those things that we need to make a more accurate count?
Yes,
of
we
7,500?
can.
I appreciate that.
That is on my plans. Thank you.
All right, anybody else?
Thank you.
You did a good job. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rich Allen Cultural Center. Come on down, folks. Good morning.
Hello, my name is John Hutchinson, and I'm Executive Director of the Richard Allen Cultural Center.
Hi, John.
412 Kiowa Street. Next to me, this is Mr. Ed Garvin, one of our board members.
Hi, Ed.
I'll let you guys look at that. You may already have the packet in hand, but the last about 7 pages has some pictures of some things. And current side of the building, and some programs, and
Yeah.
We can share.
Yeah, we can share. It should be.
We're good.
Yeah,
yes, it's just the last 7 pages.
Oh, this is in the
pictures.
packet.
Yeah, a lot of it is.
I apologize about
Yeah,
that.
we got a copy of it.
Yep.
We got it. Okay. All righty, go right ahead.
Okay. So what we have going on is we have a front barrier wall to the sidewalk that has collapsed sometime in the fall this previous year, and we're working on getting that back up to par and getting it fixed, getting repaired, possibly even replaced. It was due to the lack of where water can go, disseminate through, and the bricks failed.
It was coming. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it was. We could see it when I drive by.
So we had some people come by and take a look at it, but they couldn't do anything until the earth stops moving. That's kind of what they said.
Okay.
And
shifting.
Yeah. Yes. So those are some of the things that that's the current project that we're working on right now. And as far as the actual building of the Richard Allen Cultural Center, the new extension part that was built in 2003 is fine, but the actual house, which was built during the Civil War, does have some roofing issues as far as might need some things to be replaced and looked at. So that is part of our deal that we're working on now as well. And as far as future planning, we do plan to, within the 3 to 5 year, looking at expanding to a property that is right next to the Richard Allen Cultural Center, possibly, and renovating that house. We do have artifacts that we do have that we just can't display because of lack of size.
Yeah.
And in some of those pictures that you'll see too, we do offer a mentoring and tutoring program available to all kids, youth in Leavenworth County and surrounding areas who need their services. And you see some pictures of some of our tutors. We have assistants from former teachers, military personnel, and just anybody who has academic background.
They're really active the last 15 minutes.
How long have you been in your position?
Oh, since February 10th this year.
All right, so
My
you're
birthday,
kind of new?
You're on a roll here.
Oh, man.
You just got a point.
How's it going so far for you?
This is my first time being at this level and learning how to operate and run and the business side of it and paperwork and being a 501c. It's challenging, but it's good. It's good. I can't complain.
As a board member, he's doing a wonderful job.
You're doing a wonderful job.
Nothing has stopped. The Richard Allen, the way I got involved in it, is just getting involved in the community with all the projects behind it.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Ed Garvin. I'm a board member. I was a teenager here in Leavenworth and then moved away. Knew nothing really about the city, and then when I came back, immediately started to meet people in the community. One of my main concerns with the community was the same number of storefronts that are empty, along Cherokee were emptied in 1975. So how do we get involved how do we collectively get involved in the community? I got involved with Richard Allen because it is a bridge, an immediate bridge, culturally, educationally, historically, between the fort and the city. We are a unique military city. Go to Junction City, go to Fayetteville, North Carolina, go anywhere else. We are a very unique military city where the vast majority of the participants are here for a short period of time. There's a lot of rotation between the four. But there's also a way to tap into that because most of them are in the education process themselves, and that's what Richard Allen does. It says, come look at our one of 2 African-American museums in the state of Kansas, right here in the first city, fully full of culture. Truthful history is what I like to tell people. One of the gentlemen that works there and goes around on the guide says, when you go into class, if they ask you who discovered America, you answer Christopher Columbus or you'll get it wrong. But that's like saying, discovered my cul-de-sac when I bought my house. People were already here. The tour, have anybody been on the tour? The tour teaches you true American history. Yeah. We call ourselves a free state. We kind of were free for a while, at least in name. But it gives you true American Kansan Leavenworth history, combined with a free tutoring program that's downstairs. We could put artifacts downstairs, but we're not getting rid of the classroom. If we could expand the classroom, twice the size, get twice the volunteer teachers, we could service twice the people in the community. So for me, the museum is not just historical, it's not just educational, it's inspiring. It's inspiring. So the immediate need is the wall, by far. We're the fourth building you see when you come across Centennial Bridge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The walls come down, so we got to get the wall back up. But my part here is to let the community know that we have a lot of beautiful historical, educational opportunities for the entire community to explore right here in the first city.
Do you still give the potential for guided tour?
Yes,
What's the tour guide's names that you?
William Wallace.
So I did not know how much time I would be spending with Mr. Wallace when I went for my tour. So I owe him to go back and finish, but the first part was so completely amazing. I highly recommend. So
It is what kids are not taught when we're talking about what we're going to do with books. When we're talking about the Tom Sawyer writing at the time. This is our history, good, bad, or indifferent. If we don't learn from our history, we will repeat it. And we already knew it. We just don't remember it, reinforce it, and continue to pass it along. It's our narrative. It is who we are. That's where we start with at the museum. This is who we are. This is who we were. One of the greatest stories, it's a Netflix movie, I recommend everybody see it, is the story of the 688. You're talking about a handful of women who were segregated from the rest of the military, who parceled 1 million pieces of mail to service member backlog that they thought would take years in a matter of months.
Yeah.
And why? Because they love their country. They love their country. And they were coming from the standpoint, what if it was my kid? What if it was my husband? What if it was my service member? This is where we combine with the military fort. We do a lot of stuff with the fort. We do a lot of stuff in the community. And we do it because this is our story. This is our history. And I encourage everybody to come. If you haven't been on a tour, let us know and we'll take you around.
Well, thank you for taking on
It will
the
take a long
workload.
time.
I'm excited to come back and visit.
Please do.
So you gave a great speech. You're
It
good.
is-
You're well spoken.
It is inspiring to go there. It really is.
I feel inspired.
And when we look at our
Yeah.
county, and we always will have diversity and our dissension as we try to come together. We will. We've had it this morning. You know what I mean? But we got to do it together. We've got to come together and talk about it. Or else we'll never get to reconciliation. We'll never move forward. We'll have the same problems 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now. And that's not what we're about. We're about moving forward in this community.
Thank you. I have some knowledge of this, not a lot. However, from when I ETS out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which is in Fayetteville, I heard some things about this, and that's been quite a few years ago. But I can appreciate the excitement that I see on your face if you could see mine, but you can't because of my pigmentation of skin. Okay, I don't get red. I just get red, more red side of the heart. So in saying that, I would like to see more of this because my grandchildren have asked me many, many times, well, Grandpa, what happened then? And I try and take them through history and let them know exactly what did happen, who participated, and what it took. And and I think this is a saying that a lot of us have, is that if you don't know your heritage, you don't know where you're going.
Yes, sir.
And that's very, very important, especially with the education of our young children today.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for coming, and I look to see you again with the grandchildren.
So do my grandchildren. They ask the exact same question. So at least, and the young always ask the questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if we were taught wrong, we will teach them wrong. It's just a fact.
When MLK Day comes up, when they were very, very young, they would ask me, well, Grandpa, what were you doing at this time? And I said, well, I was marching with Dr. Martin Luther King in Washington, D.C., and other areas that he marched with. And it was rewarding to me because now they come back and ask, what actually happened in this. And so I'm able to give them actual accounting of what we went through as individuals. But don't let that be something that you depend upon to go forward.
Well said.
Yes, sir.
Well said. Anybody else? Gentlemen, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I need an executive session, don't I, Mark?
Commissioners, we do need an executive session. I don't know if you want to maybe consider your work session first, since there is somebody.
Well, she said, yeah.